the commencement address for the graduating class of the Novarn Officer Academy, delivered by Speaker Weigraf, voice of the Zel She'el Elohim Senate. Thank you, High Provost. Thank you, members of the Academy, and congratulations to all of our new officers. I have had the immense joy of meeting some of you face-to-face already, and I hope to meet many more of you, to learn your names, to shake your hands, and to look into the eyes of the defenders of our future. I remember my own graduation, not from as impressive or as intimidating an institution as yours, if I'm honest. Back in the Ilions, Kael Osier, our valedictorian, gave a very good speech. They said, to have power is to be a tree, to draw life from the soil, to give fruit and shelter to those who need it, to exist as a sentinel of harmony. Yes, a very good speech, a good speech. But as we all listened and clapped and cheered, I had the tiniest thought that would not let me be. I kept remembering this enormous tree that my parents had in their yard. Huge, beautiful banyan tree, hundreds of years old. Biggest thing for miles around. Historic, even. It lived on my parents' property, but they weren't allowed to prune it or cut it back or to touch it, really, anything. The banyan tree was too important, too iconic to the island, you see. Everyone agreed this tree was too important and too special. My parents hated that tree. It made a mess every year. It smelled awful. It kills other trees. It's true. Have you heard this? Brooks no competition for sun or rain. But the worst, the absolute worst, was the roots. The roots would loosen the stones of our home's foundation. The whole of the building, huge, heavy stones, just shoved right out of position by this inexorable tree. And it wasn't until Kael Osier gave that speech that I realized that wasn't our house. It was the trees. We were at its mercy so long as we lived under its shadow. Officers, to have power is to be a tree. As you set forth into the world, make yourselves a tree so important that no one can touch you. Make yourself as indispensable to the community around you that none dare lay a hand on you. Power is the willingness to say, this is my place in the world, and to refuse to let anyone take it away from you. Push your way to the front. Never abide anyone stealing your sun or your rain. Ask the uncomfortable questions. Tread where no one else dares to tread. Judge who deserves your fruit and shelter, and dispense it with justice. But never forget what you are owed. That is power. I have a scene. Weigraf and Serikali are going to go find Judet.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen Judet since we came into the city. And Weigraf wants to know where the heck Judet is.
I think Serikali could just tell him.
Probably.
Where do we find Judet, Gavin?
Where would Judet see you? Because I imagine that she's overseeing the
Evacuation.
the return to the diaspora.
I think Weigraf asks Serikali to join him in going to see Judet, wherever Judet is. I think Weigraf understands that. Like, Weigraf has probably sent a couple of messages to Judet asking if she'll speak with him, which haven't gone answered.
Oh yeah, definitely have not been answered.
Does Serikali come with?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we're at like some sort of like loading area or something like that. Some sort of like space where tell me more about this plan. Or this initiative, rather.
It's Judet leveraging the resources of wealthy Mitzrayim to stockpile resources. Probably bought a lot of the food from those merchants, stockpile resources, and load them up into, I guess, try to buy horses and camels and whatnot. Because carts will not travel fast. And just amassing, maybe she's got like a ledger. She's got a giant ledger, like a chosen sized ledger. Perfect. That she's writing.
Like the size of a house door.
Yeah, like the size of I was going to say like a church door, but yeah, house doors probably. You would need to walk around it in order to write on it if your arms weren't as long as Judet's.
Yeah, Weigraf arrives and tries, I think, to sort of like to like make it clear that like he wants to talk to Judet, but isn't willing to like interrupt necessarily whatever's going on here. Oh.
And Judet makes him wait for an uncomfortably long moment before setting the pen down and looking up. Senator?
Chosen. Gosh, there's so much industry. What are you planning? If I didn't know better, I'd almost say it looked like an evacuation of some kind.
Is there something you want, Senator? She says in the lilting voice, always as if she's singing.
Chosen, I don't mean to belabor the obvious, but the capital is under siege by not one, but now two never armies. Well, I am trying to marshal as great a defense as I am able, and gestures to Serikali. Obviously, the chosen that are here among us must form the backbone of such a defense. I have come here on behalf of all of Novara, not merely the Senate, but each of its people, to entreat you to join our cause to marshal a defense for all people.
Is that all, Senator? Picks up the quill again.
No, that is not all. I'm here because from everything that I have heard, you, if merely by your presence, endorsed the actions of this schism legion that has traveled alongside the legitimate body. And we've received no report or excuse or other sort of communication of any kind.
Serikali steps forward and places her hand on Weigraf's shoulder. Since she's returned to the Senate, or to the capital, Serikali has mostly kept her eyes closed. I think this close to her calling, her eyes burn so bright that it's blinding. And she says, Weigraf, you overstep yourself. Judet is not the chosen of the capital. She owes you no report.
Weigraf immediately bows his head. I do. I apologize. I overstep only because the situation is so dire. There is so much risk. There is so much at stake. What must I do? What must I say to entreat you to stand with us?
Still holding the quill, starting to rhythmically scratch out numbers again. You have proven what you're capable of already, Senator. I have found you wanting.
Tell me at least, what, if not the will of the Senate, what cause will you serve?
I serve the Lord of Song and her people, nothing more. I have always served us. You should know that by now, Senator.
Yes, you're right. I should.
Now, are you going to waste my time anymore? I have duties to attend to.
If I may waste just a moment more of your time, Judet. I understand your plan, even if I do not agree with it. But Weigraf is right. The choice you make here is a risky one. I do believe more of your people will live with both of us defending the walls.
And Judet looks into Serikali's eyes and says, the way you defended my uncle from the Senate and their damned park?
We have both killed many senators.
Judet's only killed the one.
All right, fair. In that case, Judet, I've been killing senators for longer than you've been alive. If I had known, I would have dispensed my justice. I thought you knew this.
If you had known. But you didn't.
We are not omniscient. We are only chosen.
Exactly.
And she just nods.
Weigraf goes back to his office and signs an ordinance.
No killing senators.
It is now illegal.
Yeah, laws are going to stop these two.
Owned. No, Weigraf signs an ordinance seizing excess supplies for the defense of the city.
Oh, man. Azar's not even going to get to order Lark to kill him. He's going to get himself killed otherwise.
No way! This is everyone. Everyone in the city deserves these supplies as much as everyone else. The Senate is simply looking out for the good of the people.
Everybody loves Weigraf.
Everybody loves Weigraf. That's what the pamphlet says.
That's his campaign slogan.
Judet's gonna kill a lot of cops.
Devin, reaction.
Oh my god. I think we at least see Lance and I don't know who else is like training soldiers in the other legion.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're like working together to try to share the like training ground and like work together on drills.
I bet it's 9. I think 9 is doing this.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah. Gavin.
Sophina, in her office again, says to an aide, make sure the Mitzrayim of the legions know Judet's plan.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. Kris.
Gavin, instead of an aide, can that have been Nikolaj?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Great.
a Sophina voice. Nikolaj is an aide.
Yeah. True and fair. Yeah.
Does Nikolaj have a perspective to share?
Ooh, because like this one wasn't about this one.
Yeah, this one was a little bit
Huh.
tangential.
Yeah, I'm.
It's
I can't think of one now,
Okay.
so I don't want to muck things up. So
Absolutely
I
fine.
won't. So yeah, it'll just be like, yeah, Nikolaj just leaves through the secret bookcase door.
Matthew, reaction.
Azar writes a series of letters to the Mitzrayim sort of leaders of the city
Mhm.
and to the merchants who are now suffering under the tyranny of Weigraf.
Unbelievable. I want to check Crisis, but I think it's more honest to check Crossroads based on that scene.
Yeah, because remember, our kingdom is the Legion, not the city.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that scene bears out in the Legion's favor.
Unifies us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unifies us against Weigraf.
Devin, it's your turn.
All right. What the fuck is Kael doing now? Kael is going to. Where was this last scene, by the way?
It was in a warehouse that the Mitzrayim were stockpiling resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Kael wants to meet with Weigraf. Would anybody else be there?
What is the
I want to
nature of
invite
this?
Azar, but I feel like that would be a whole fucking thing.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not going to. What were you going to suggest? Sorry.
I was going to ask what the nature of the visit was going to be.
I think it's sort of like a, hey, like we're friends, right? Can we like talk about this, like, as friends and not as,
Yeah, absolutely.
leaders. So yeah, I think
Absolutely, Weigraf says, petting his pet orangutan.
God,
what the fuck?
you missed that conversation as well.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Bond villain.
I brought him to work. I barely get to see him with as much paperwork as I have to do. But it's fine. It's fine. He's perfectly here at home in my office.
That's a person. That's not a pet.
That's why I gave him a rank, obviously.
Oh my god.
So it's the,
Draknor, shake the Lorekeeper's hand.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
wait, what's his rank?
Junior speaker.
Junior Speaker Draknor. Please.
It's
shake-
not. It's not a real rank. It's just what I made up for my friend the orangutan.
Yeah.
Don't tell him it's made up.
Kael's eyes go like wide in disbelief at this orangutan situation.
Just
and
give
like
the order.
after like about 5 seconds of just staring, Kael slowly their like flat their flatline face kind of slowly turns into a smile, and then they like shake the orangutan's hand. Pleasure to meet you, Junior Speaker.
The orangutan does like the big pump and then like slaps the top of your hand. Like, yeah. Like the way you would imagine Weigraf shaking someone's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then climbs across the desk and picks up a bookcase.
I'm sure you're a valorous voice of the people. Well, I think they go to sit down at the speaker's desk.
Strange times.
Yes, and I know you have expectations, but I wish to speak with you as friends, as former colleagues of the University of Roses.
I'd like nothing better. I would.
It's been a long time.
Give me a year back at the academy. My goodness, the days here, the life of a senator is arduous, and a speaker, even with such a capable assistant as Draknor is, a real piece of work, and that's without the army of the undead beating down our gates. No, please speak to me as we would comrades, students.
What did you used to tell me of your vision of how you saw the world? The future, the ideal future that you imagined for Zalshal.
I was the vision of a child in so many ways, but I still try to cling to it because what's more honest than a child? I want a world where there's no shadow of history creeping over us, where the rise of the Arcadian Empire or the strange goings-on of these strange armies far, far away. Whatever may divide us is simply not forgotten, but not something that looms quite so heavily. Where we look not away from the past, but with greater concern for what comes next, not what has come before. Understand, there is importance, obviously, in the things that have come before, the things that history has to teach us, but we mustn't allow ourselves to be so weighed down.
Well, as this vision of a child has grown into the vision of an adult, I'm sure you've realized that there is no cure for a millennium of trauma.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yes, Yeah.
If you could tell your young self anything, what would you tell them?
Enjoy your long hair while it lasts. I would tell them, whether you want it to or not, the past will catch up with us. And the best you can do is to be ready for it.
True enough. What is all this about resources? I'm not the quartermaster of my legion, but
this is a bureaucratic mess. There are a number of lords and such that seem fit to stage some sort of a foolish evacuation, even as our army, even as our city is ever more encircled. Rather than let them give in to panic, we are simply trying to take steps to make sure that the city and its people are not put in danger, whether from attack or from shortages.
These lords, do you plan to let them leave?
I'm not a king. I'm not some sheriff with a cell to throw people in. If they want to try their luck with Kasherban and Kara, then nice knowing them. But I will not let them leave with food that would have fed 10 others.
That seems reasonable.
I'm glad you think so.
Well, and what is your opinion of this business of combining the two legions?
And he looks like legitimately exasperated. I think it's not a problem we can afford to have right now. I want us to, even as I would advise my younger self to take care with the past, I think that some things must move forward. And I think that two groups squabbling for the charter for the Constant Legion is not something they or we or anyone in Novara can afford to have. I think we must all be united in the face of the threat that faces us.
I agree. I'm just worried about what that will mean. There's a lot of context that you don't have. The journey east was tumultuous, to say the least. And our two legions have a history of violence. I've been doing everything I can to try to build bridges, but I don't trust a lot of the people. I don't trust anybody in command. And I'm trying my best to trust you. If you were to broker a peace between two sentient groups that wish each other violence, what would you do?
Weigraf smiles, a tight little smile, and sits forward and crosses his hands on his desk and says, "My old friend, I would say, they and you and anyone else can trust me by virtue of the fact that they and you and I are still alive. We and everyone else, so far as I'm aware, within the walls of this city, we're still here. And beyond it, past the rows and rows of armies, headed up by the broken, by chosen that we sent to the omniculum of Zur to try and put a stop to this mess. For all I know, we're the last people alive in Zelsha'el. For all I know, the Tailos in the mountains, the Ilianders in the seas, everyone else has been swept away. And so I would say that they should get with the program. We're alive, they're not. We need to continue to remain alive. And if that means getting over whatever it is that happened on the road here, then get over it." Sits back in his chair.
I think Kael gives a laugh, but it's sort of a forced laugh, and says, well, that's why you got into politics and I dropped that class and went to go read epic poems. I will take everything you've said here in under consideration. And
Tell them to be reasonable, Lorekeeper.
Yes. We especially know how reasonable Azar is, but, I'm sure he can see logic in all of this, and I trust him to make the right decision in this regard. Bess, I wish us both luck in the work to be done. Speaker, junior speaker, good day. Blow with the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he would also say break with the tide. I guess this is just like a weird Iliander thing that we've established because we've had two Iliander on Iliander conversations.
I think there's a beat where Kael is like expecting Weigraf to say it back, and Weigraf pointedly does not.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Kael also noticed the way he spoke of Kasharvan, like that wasn't the fucking god of our people.
Yeah.
All right.
Not anymore.
Shit.
Yep.
All of that was unspoken, but all of that was heard.
Gavin, reaction.
Yeah, Lark was in the window.
Phenomenal. As ordered.
Yeah, but probably paying attention to that, but also like zooms in on her lips and she's mouthing numbers. She's counting guards, seconds, etc.
This isn't a reaction, but can I just add an addendum to that scene?
Absolutely.
Across the street, through another window, looking through binoculars, is Argyle.
Great.
God.
Okay. Well, that's going to make my addendum even dumber because I can't do it. I can't do it.
No. Do it, Brendan. Don't be a coward. Come on. We're spying on each other here.
Yeah, Lark, you hear like a tiny little, the size of a thumbnail, a tiny bell. And like standing on the rooftop across from you is that dark-haired person I described in the archive earlier. I don't think I said out loud. Facecast is Naveen Andrews. And this is the person that was watching when Azar and Kael were first here. And again, as in the archive, could very well make sure that they are not could make sure that they are not seen, but are deliberately being seen. Dumb.
Oh my god.
Phenomenal.
Great. Kris, reaction.
Pass.
Matthew, reaction.
Azar invites Kael into his tent and informs them about the joint cairn that he has procured for both legions.
Do you require me to do a speech?
Azar, not looking up, shuffling papers, almost certainly.
Well, I've already gotten to know some of the people in the Legion, the other Legion. I'd be happy to speak to everybody.
I'm aware. Good work.
Kind of narrows their brow a little bit, like, what? Okay.
My reaction is an outdoor table at a coffee shop. Sam Neill looks up, looks at Argyle, then Lark, then Devin Andrews, and says, "Motherfucker!" orders a third espresso.
This is really good because Azar had Lark there watching Weigraf, but then also had Samuel there watching everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
I just love the idea of like zooming out and then zooming out and then zooming out. Every time you zoom out, there's another fucking spy.
Absolutely.
Oh, it spies all the ways down.
Devin, mark Crossroads or Crisis?
Oh, I'm actually kind of torn here. Like, both scenes that we've had so far between Kael and Weigraf have been extremely amicable, but then also extremely bad vibes. So I'm not sure.
Well, I hope you would feel like if there was a problem, then you could come to Weigraf with whatever concerns you have. If there was something didn't quite go your way, you could speak up.
Oh man, yeah, I guess it is Crossroads, but like Kael's not the type of person. Like Kael doesn't like intrigue. I think that's why they like chose not to become a politician, even though that was their original route in university. Because like they're realizing like
it's not applying facts to law. It's really just theater.
Yeah, and like he could be a resource to me if resources was like personal resources was something I was vying for in order to get my way. Like they just have these like dark thoughts about this. And yeah, I guess it's Crossroads.
Okay.
Like fuck, they wrapped me in or they roped me into an intrigue. Fuck.
Yep. Did the whole bait and switch orangutan intrigue.
The classic.
Yep, that's it. Okay, when all the Crossroads boxes are checked, we find
Watching that orangutan, there's another orangutan hiding around the corner with a spyglass.
Exactly, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Another orangutan is watching Sam Neill.
Sorry.
When all the Crossroad never apologize for bringing up the orangutan. When all the Crossroad boxes are checked, we find out what choice the kingdom makes. A lot can happen as the Crossroad is resolved, but instead of role-playing scenes, use short narration to describe the action. How and when you contribute is based on your role. The steps are: review the Crossroad. The Crossroad is, will we have one legion moving forward? The two choices are yes and no. If yes, Kael's stance is yes, this should happen. Nikolaj predicted if yes, violence will break out between the camps. If no, Lark had originally voted for no, but took that back. Prediction, if no, another from Nikolaj, the Senate will start calling the shots. Those don't necessarily stick around, but that's what's on the table presently. Power, make a decision. Power, which path of the crossroad do you make the kingdom follow? Describe how your character makes the kingdom do it. Each player with power says which path they make the kingdom choose on the crossroad. No one else gets to vote. Describe how your character makes it happen. If you can't explain how your character uses their power to affect the outcome, you can't vote. We have 2 powers at present.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to?
This one's not a particularly exciting decision. I think.
I don't
both
think
know
so.
where we're going.
Yeah. What is Azar's vote?
Azar votes yes.
Weigraf also votes yes.
Huh. I guess this is why Lark isn't a power.
So let's talk through this a little bit. I think Weigraf means what he says when he says he wants this to be simpler and he wants it to be something that we move past, even knowing that keeping the Legion separate would put him in a stronger position. And so I think sends a message asking Azar to expedite this merger if indeed it's going to happen. Azar, how do you make this happen?
Here I'm going to assume a couple things happened
Mm-hmm.
that involve other characters. So if anybody disagrees or says that doesn't happen, let me know. This doesn't have to be like a full overthrow or anything. Just let me know. We'll work it out. I think that the other Legion, not unanimously, but still with an overwhelming majority, agrees to the joint tomb. And I think what we see here is a ceremony. The entire Legion, both Legions, packed into this like gymnasium-sized place. Not still a lot of room, but taking up all of it. And Kael is giving a tale from the Legion there, right over this sort of joint grave. And I think we've metaphorically buried the hatchets publicly. And privately, I think that the other Legion is on board, at least, with we're stronger together than dead.
I like it.
Yeah, the story is obviously some story from history about how two fractions of the Legion became whole.
Perspective, show the consequences. Tell us whether each of your predictions on the winning side of the crossroad came true or not. Describe your character seeing what happens. Nikolaj, you're our only perspective.
Yeah, and I only have the one prediction on the yes side, which is if yes, violence will break out between camps. And I think it's like after the ceremony and story and stuff, everybody like leaves, and I think a lot of the soldiers, lowercase s soldiers from both sides, end up at Bulls and Crows. Like almost like a wake. And when talking about like how things move forward, someone from our Legion sort of brings up like, well, Azar is making that decision now, and someone on the other Legion is like, starts arguing back like, I mean, bullshit, he's doing it now, because then wouldn't we be there, like, because we're not part of that discussion, like he's not doing it now. And then someone's like, I mean, if you guys were really going to get a say, would Dorado be there? And Dorado's just like here at Bulls and Crows, and then it just breaks out into a big fight that like spills out into like the streets of Novara. So like the public is just seeing like, oh hey, is that the Legion fighting the Legion? What? And it's not a great look.
Can I contest this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think Lance does some dumb shit here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. I think in some sort of like weird dramatic thing, like Lance like takes a bullet, not like a fatal one.
Oh. Actually, yeah. Okay. No, that fits in really good with something I was going to suggest, which is
Oh boy.
a gun was going to go off. It's not clear whose. that hits Dorado.
Lance takes it.
Lance takes the bullet.
So
Great.
Lance jumps in front of Dorado.
I think it's like a shoulder wound or something like that is like nasty, but like not like fatal. And I want there to be some sort of parody with that first scene though, where he was kind of made to look foolish in front of all of the armies. And I'm not sure exactly how to evoke that scene again.
Well, maybe you don't get shot here. Maybe what happens is that somebody pulls a gun on Dorado, and this time you pull it out of their grasp easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of one of Lance's rookies getting disarmed, Lance disarms someone.
Yes.
I still love the idea of Lance getting hurt for stupid reasons, though.
Here's what I think. I think
It's a Lance
I think
move.
Lance does that, and then there's a gunshot from somewhere, and Lance gets hit.
So second gunshot. You can
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
get both.
Yeah.
So hold on. Is this mechanically, Devin, is this you doing a fight or fix, or are you overthrowing? What's happening here?
I'm assuming there's still a rule in the game where you can try to like contest a prediction coming true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's two. Can you fight or fix a conclusion? That is,
I see.
Yes.
And I guess Kris gets to decide yes, but, or yes if.
Yeah, prevent predictions from coming true
okay.
is one of the things a fight or fix can
So
do.
Matthew and I just talked a bunch, but I guess it's really up to Kris.
I barely talked.
Sorry, Kris. I'll stop Matthew from
Let me
interrupting
see
you for
what
the
this-
rest of the game.
So Devin, what you're trying to do is like stop the violence there before it like spills out of the bar and gets, just takes over.
Yeah,
the whole camp.
by Lance martyring himself for unity.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to work.
Maybe it is true. Maybe yes, you succeed, but the consequence there is that like, I mean, yeah, Lance got shot. Is gonna have to heal up, and while he's doing so, Dorado like steps in and takes over the training thing. Dorado sort of fills Lance's role as an officer.
Yeah, I like that.
Alrighty then. Right, I think a gunshot rings out. The one that like
Someone tries to shoot Dorado. Lance disarms them, and then someone else shoots Lance.
and someone else shoots Lance.
Maybe there was supposed to be some sort of like they were trying to make it look like they shot each other.
Yeah, and I think like Durant. Sorry, I can't speak for your character, but I think Dorado probably like screams out like "stop" or something like that right after.
Yeah. Maybe Dorado sees who fires that second shot, takes the gun from Lance, and then shoots that person. It's like, this is done now.
Fucking hardcore.
Sick.
Neither of these people are wearing Legion uniforms.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Weigraf's agent slips out the back.
Mm-hmm.
Argyle saw the door close
Mhm.
and goes to follow, but didn't see who it was.
Sam Nail's asleep.
I was gonna be like, it's everybody following.
Sam Nail was
everybody.
drunk on ranch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sam Nail's at Suleiman's tent, and they're smoking something weird.
It's Thursday. Thursday is Suleiman Day. Touchstones. Tell us how your character feels about everything that happened. That's how the people of the Legion feel too. Describe your character seeing how the people react, then check or uncheck up to 2 crisis boxes to reflect that.
That's powerful.
Devin, you're first.
Oh fuck. So I think Kael. I think Kael is hopeful because like the shit that just went down is very fucking like epic poem bullshit. Like Lance is obviously fucking making himself a fucking protagonist in a Tale of a Legion. And like that kind of symbolism is powerful, even if they think Lance is an idiot. But also they are extremely worried about all of the people and their fucking machinations, and is loyal to their side of things, but is also worried about like how Azar is going to handle the merger in terms of, power grabs. Is extremely worried about Weigraf and what he's capable of. And I don't know, because I'm supposed to be speaking for the people too, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't know if the people would have as much knowledge.
You're speaking for the Legion specifically.
Yeah.
The people of the Legion.
Because
if you feel that way, they feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because other people could have seen, person not in uniform is having people not in uniform having pulled guns. Wait, is the city against us?
So it doesn't have to be through Kael.
No, but people will see Kael.
Yeah, so what Kael feels, people are seeing manifest in other ways.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it is simply true.
Yeah, it feels like a war on countless fronts, and I feel like everybody's feeling that pressure.
Yeah.
Are you
tick?
Ticking or unticking up to 2?
I'm going to tick 1 crisis.
Okay. Gavin.
Lark sees what's going on. She doesn't drink, but she likes to have fun probably sometimes. This is at this bar. It's very clear to her that somebody was trying to prevent the Legion from staying together, and is going to report that to Azar, that whatever happened at the bar was manufactured by an outside influence. And I'm going to tick off 2 boxes.
So to be clear, that means the Legion as a whole feels like there are outside forces trying to drive them apart.
There are outside forces trying to drive us apart, and that's why we need to stick together even more.
Okay.
Mm.
This, to be clear, is why Azar said earlier, all according to plan.
Great. Okay, the crossroad is now finished. If all the crisis boxes are checked, they are not. Next, decide as a group whether you want to break in the action to let time go by before your next crossroads. If you do, resolve time passes now. Only make time pass if everyone agrees. I feel like probably some new problem emerges the next day, right?
I have suggestions.
Do you want to set up the next crossroad before we wrap
I'm
up?
happy with that.
I'm
think
very
on
happy
it?
to do that. I'm copying this to the previous page. Gavin, give us suggestions.
There's a call from Judet and company that all Mitzrayim in the city are welcome to meet with her and will be fed and prepared to leave. This invitation is extended to Legionnaires. Crossroad is, do we allow a portion of our Legionnaires to leave?
Mm.
Do we allow a portion of our Legionnaires to discharge themselves? To quit?
Where are they going? I think I missed that.
Judet, out of character. Judet is planning to take everyone to Skydagger ahead of the siege. The Mitzrayim were a traveling people before, and they've settled here for a couple 100 years. They can travel again.
It's interesting. I didn't realize that they were going to go to Skydagger. I thought you were just going to have them travel as far east as they could possibly go.
Yeah.
Well, Skydagger is the thing that goes the thing that's east, and then there's also just mountains.
Yeah, in other countries, supposedly.
Yeah, there's more countries past Skydagger, though. I think...
But Skydagger is the pass between those places.
Sure. But I guess the question is Judet... In your imagination, would Judet stop at Skydagger? If we advanced to Skydagger ourselves, would we catch up with them?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going for.
Interesting.
It would catch up with them or their corpses,
Yeah. I feel like that question is more interesting if they're explicitly, very likely to die or simply disappear from the story.
Mm-hmm. We could expand this actually to be like Weigraf's attempt to, or Weigraf's is getting tired of waiting for us to be hired into the guard and is now actively, there are forces, including Judet and Weigraf, that are trying to poach legionnaires into their respective agencies.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. There's definitely nobles that are trying to be like, Abuna Lance, I will pay you a fortune to train my guards.
Yeah, or how about you become my left hand? I'm sorry. How about you become my lieutenant? I did not realize. I'm so sorry.
Is the left hand the one that's gone?
Yeah. How about you? You just become my personal guard, and
his shoulder wound is on his right shoulder for like cool design symmetry.
Great, good.
So yeah, like the city is trying to poach our legionnaires. Do we let them go? Or maybe there's a better question there. But
will the Legion allow people to leave?
Yeah. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I do want to re-bring up. I feel a little bit bad because Brendan wanted to have the refugee question, and then we punted that. And I was thinking that we'd do this one sort of refugee-y.
I think this is a more interesting immediate question immediately after making finally getting the Legion situation sorted out. Now being like, okay, that's no longer a problem, but also everything else is still a problem. So some people are going to try and do what's best for them, whether that's joining up with the Mitzrayim caravan or taking up a position with the other nobles, because as far as a lot of people are concerned, they're back into mercenary mode here. And it's like, no rules, just right. That's what they say.
I don't think the Legion ever worked on no rules, just right.
Yeah. That's it's in the annals. It's written. Yeah.
It's also interesting though if like the sort of prevailing mood, at least from Kael at the end of that last crossroad, was like external forces are trying to get us.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And then it's like,
but if you're not a true believer, that means like, oh, well, I'm going to let these external forces do whatever they want to while I go over here.
And Gavin is also a touchstone, so like people can feel different ways in this case.
Yeah, and do.
Yerp.
Cool. Sounds good.
Will the Legion allow its members to leave if they wish? OATHSWORN is an actual play podcast created by
Devin Nelson,
Gavin Fregeau,
Kris Allison,
Matthew Guzdial,
and me, Brendan McLeod. All music for the show is created by Devin Nelson. Find it and more at devindecibel.bandcamp.com. Find a link to their music and any of the games that we have played in the podcast description. Follow us at OATHSWORNPod on Twitter or OATHSWORN on co-host. If you like the show, please consider sharing it with a friend or leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Until next time.